Welcome to Womack's wonderful world. Have I got a story for you today? It's a fabulous book and it's called Drawing Hope by Ursula Hurst. Would you like to know what it's about? Well, it's about hope and she's very good at drawing. But if you're wondering what these flags are up here, well, you'll find out when I read you the story, won't you? Shall we begin? This is Hope Mickle, where hope lives. See that little house there? Everything's grey, except where hope lives. If one day you were to walk over the hills, through the trees and past the old barn with the red roof, you may find yourself in a town called Hope Mickle. Maybe you've been there before, but you won't remember. It was the kind of town you could pass through and hardly notice you've been. The people were kind, the people were friendly, but they had so much on their minds there was no time to stop and chat. It's all grey, and can you see the words on their head? Well, they're all busy with their lives, and they don't look very happy to me. In fact, they don't look like they've got a lot of hope. But there's one coloured window up there, and that's where hope lives. It was in this quiet little town that we find Hope Butterworth. And she looks quite happy, doesn't she? She's painting a dog, Smudge. Hope was at her happiest when she was drawing, painting, or making something out of just about anything. She could spend hours filling her sketchbook with the beautiful things around her. Even when there were lots of jobs to do, she'd find a way of making them more colourful. Her bedroom was her happy place. Over the past few months she'd been busy changing its plain white walls into a colourful den filled with the things she loved. With Smudge's portrait now in the final space on her wall, she was ready for a new project. Well, look on that, all the artwork on the walls. Ooh, very nice. She's got Smudge with a bone in his mouth. It's a very nice, colourful bedroom, isn't it? As the pair settled themselves into their favourite thinking spot, Hope noticed how sad everyone looked. She wished they could have a happy place too. They do look very grey outside, don't they? That's it, cried Hope. The town can be our next project. We'll fill it with colour and joy. Come on, Smudge! Jumping down from her seat, she began to search through her books for ideas. There were so many clever artists who'd made wonderful things, but nothing was quite right for Hope Mickle. Until... Oh, Smudge! These are perfect, she gasped, and she was looking at Tibetan prayer flags. The wishes on the flags are blown into the wind to spread goodwill. Hope got straight to work, cutting, tearing and gluing with the most colourful tissue paper she could find. She decorated each flag with a good wish, just like the flags in the book. You see them flags? They're wonderful, aren't they? Love and joy and happiness. Once they were finished, she ran down to hang them in the park for everyone to see. As Hope stretched to tie the string, she spotted Mrs. Green from next door. Can you see her heart through her jacket? Well, she's getting a bit of colour, and she's smiling, and the same with her dog too. And these words around her head, well, they're getting a bit happier, aren't they? She's getting still complicated words coming out of her head, like, what shall I cook for tea? Worrying, but she's getting a bit of warmth coming out of her heart because she's seeing these flags. It's making a difference. Look, Smudge, our flags are working already. I want the wind to blow our wishes all over town, said Hope happily. That night, the wind did blow. When Hope called back the next day, she found that it wasn't her good wishes that had blown all over town, but her beautiful tissue flags. They're ruined, she whispered, pulling her pal a little closer. Look at the flags are all made of tissue. They're all ripped and wet. Hope was ready to give up on her project when she remembered Mrs. Green's smile. Oh, Smudge, she sighed. She'll be sad again when she sees what's happened. Let's get home and fix this. By the time Hope had walked home, she felt much better and ready to try again. The tissue was too light and thin, Smudge, said Hope. We need something stronger. Deep in her paper pile she found some thick white paper and began to paint with all her favourite colours, love, hope and bright colours in paint. Making the flags lifted her spirits once more, and she skipped down to the park to hang them for everyone to see. Can you see the flags here? Mrs. Green here. Mrs. Green's getting even more colourful, isn't she? The worry words have disappeared from around her head, and the dogs look happy too. That night the wind began to blow again, but the flags were strong and stayed in the trees. Unfortunately, with the wind came rain. Drop by drop the colours ran down the flags and onto the ground. Oh, look at those colours running off the flags. Oh no, cried Hope when she found the dripping white flags next morning. This is pointless. How did I ever think I could make a difference to this town? I can't even make a flag that lasts a full day. Oh, my poor dear, whatever is the matter, said Mrs. Green, who had heard Hope's cries as she did her morning walk. I was trying to make the town happy and colourful, sobbed Hope, but it's not working. But it is working. Your little flags made me so happy, smiled Mrs. Green. The beautiful colours reminded me of the bowls of wool I have at home. I haven't knitted for years, but last night I made this. Oh, she's made a flag, with a colourful flag with a heart on it. Can you hang it in the tree for me, my dear? The weather won't ruin wool. That's so beautiful, said Hope, finding her smile once more. Do you think you could teach me to knit, Mrs. Green? It would be my pleasure, she beamed. As the pair spent the morning chatting, knitting and laughing, Hope discovered how good it was doing art together. Thank you for helping me, Mrs. Green, said Hope. I'm not going to give up on my project anymore. I'm going to make it even bigger. Hope ran home full of excitement and was still out of breath when she started gathering large sheets of paper and felt pens. There must be more people in town with clever talents, like Mrs. Green, she explained to a confused-looking smudge. We've got to find them. Look at this, flag-making day, with all the flags, love and happiness and hope. Bring your talents and spare materials. Let's make our town beautiful. Saturday, in the park. The following morning she hung her posters all over town. Over the next few days, the bright colours got noticed and people began to look up from their worries. However, by the time Saturday arrived, Hope began to have second thoughts. What if nobody turns up, Smudge? What if everybody thinks I'm silly for trying to change a whole town? And you see, she's hung her flags on the fence and on the telegraph poles, and she's very worried about this. Hope put blankets and rugs out for people to work on, and then waited and waited. You see Smudge with a poster in his mouth, waiting. She began to think she may have put the wrong day on the poster when... Sorry we're so late, my dear. Mary kept dropping the wool. I've gathered all my chums from my old knitting group. Where would you like us to sit? Once the knitting group had settled, other people began to join in. I've learned to weave with old t-shirts in class. Would you like me to help? Said a boy. We used to make felt in our craft groups, and we have loads of wool left over. Would you like us to help? Said these two girls. Soon the park was full of people making flags out of every shape and size. Some were amazing, made with fine details. Others were just about holding themselves together with bits of string. They were all beautiful. Wow, look at this first one here. They're making lovely flags out of felt. And the knitting. Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it? The old ladies are teaching them how to knit, aren't they? And they're lovely colours too. And the copper. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Making flags out of copper. Wow, they're very clever. And of course painting. Well, we all know how to paint, don't we? They're having a great time. And applique. Now, do you know what that is? They are very clever. They're making flags out of lots of different materials, like a collage. Very clever. And of course weaving here. Weaving, that's a great skill, isn't it? Great flags. As they worked, they chatted, sharing the things that had been on their minds for a long time. Their worries became smaller and their smiles became bigger. Until the park was full of laughter and joy. When all the flags were finished, everyone helped to hang them high in the trees. One by one, their good wishes were carried on the wind through every part of the town and beyond. Now, if one day you were to walk over the hill, through the trees and past the old barn with the red roof, you may find yourself in a town called Mickle. It's the kind of town you could never forget. Remember Mickle before it was all grey, except for one house where Hope lived? Well, look at it now. It's full of hope and joy and happiness. They've no worries now, have they? What a fantastic story. Drawing Hope by Ursula Hurst. Well, I know a town not far from here that were inspired after reading this book to making a whole town covered in these flags. Well, maybe this story will inspire you to do it too. It's time to go now. I'm going to have to leave you, but I will be seeing you again next week. Mike's wonderful world. Thank you for listening. Bye bye for now.